Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Life's Milkshake Moment with health coach Joe D.
Welcome to Life's Milkshake Moments. I am Dr. Jody Bear, America's top foundational health coach, specializing in foundations of health, foundations of living, foundations of hope, doing this as a pioneer for over 42 years. We do this in a way, starting with your spiritual wellness, then physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. The context of Life's Milkshake Moment is life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. And one of these ingredients today and tonight, however you're watching it, is Manny Lopez, my guest. And this is what we bring to people, the leaders in industry and all 6 pillars. But if you don't know a little bit about me, let me tell you, over my 42 years of being a health coach, I was privileged and honored to bring over 1 million pounds of toxic fat loss with only a 5% recidivism rate. And also in the COVID era, to bring back, as I re-entered the workforce after retirement, over 2,000 COVID patients and clients that regained their health. Why? Because the body is a miracle-making machine. The body put in any condition can heal itself. And I know this firsthand. Being a small town girl from Montana, brown eyes and a ponytail, I became an overachiever, like my guest here, Manny Lopez, because I wanted to be an overachiever because of having some trauma and tragedy in my personal life. When my mother lost her soulmate at age 36, I created music. Who knew I could sing? And did I sing? I could sing, and sing I did. And I was able to create that joy in my mother's life that lifted her out of depression. You see, that's what we do. Just like Lisa Williamson sang at the beginning, and I was privileged to be in the studio with her. There is hope. Les Brown, my guest mentor and also my guest coach, and Les Brown, the legend who has mentored me over these last 2 years, has said, it's possible. It is possible to open up the keys to a whole new future. All you have to do is believe that you have the access to say it's possible. How about let's say, I'm possible, because it's possible. And you're possible too. So take my hand on this life journey. Take my hand, because health is not something you do. No, it's who you become and what you become along life's journey. And what this young man, this megapreneur, my guest here tonight, Manny Lopez, has become is just something that will give all of you hope, will give all of you just absolute vision and intention that if one person can do it, another person can as well. So we're going to take our first commercial break. But before this, I want to come back because I forgot this part about hope. Manny, from Orphan to CEO, just like my mother said to me as she was transitioning out of this world, my first health coaching patient back in 1982. Look what you've given me, length of life, Jody. Give others what you have given me. That's what we do in this life. Give others what you have given me. So what we are going to have is the gift of our sponsor here in just a moment. Our sponsor, which is Humongous Ads and Humongous Classified Ads. Peter Mingles, who is the CEO and entrepreneur and has Building Fortunes Radio, of which I've been with his radio show over 9 years. But we're going to take a quick commercial break with Peter Mingles to give you hope in your financial sector. Take a look.
Inflation is going through the roof. Food prices, gas prices, housing prices, insurance, everything. The average family is feeling the pinch. So what can you do? Ask your boss for a 20% cost of living wage increase? That won't end well. Fall for a get-rich-quick scheme? There are people who you can rely on to show you how to make money in a home-based business. Give us a chance to walk you through how it works. It's not really that complicated. You just have to find the right opportunity and the right people. Visit www.humongous.com/TV and submit your information. Maybe we can help. Billions of families are wondering how to work from home and earn extra income.
And Peter has done this and helped people for over 30 years. Humongous ads, humongous classifieds. He is a person with a system, just like our guest here tonight, Manny Lopez. But I'd like to see you to see the banner on the bottom, to partner, just because at Traverse TV, we are like PBS. When you sponsor programs such as myself, these are brought to you by patrons, by donations, of which the majority that we collect goes to my charity, La Casaropa de Sobre in Colombia, which features an absolute houses under one roof, orphans that need something and someone to look up to, the elderly, which want to pass down their wisdom to orphans. So you will be sponsoring not only this TV show and Traverse TV, but you'll be sponsoring my charity, La Casaropa de Sobre. So go ahead, take a look. And I am absolutely not going to keep your attention and your suspense any longer. I'm going to tell you right now, I looked at this resume of Manny Lopez and I did the abbreviated one. I go, guys, I'm going to read this. I want you to get every piece of what Manny has done and who he is, from orphan to CEO, with the ginormous, like humongous ads, the humongous verticals of Manny Lopez, what he has done in his youngish life. You think he's 80 years old like my husband, but he has been named one of the best by Facebook, featured in Inc. magazine, a paid consultant to over 1,000 brands. He was featured in Inc. magazine and of course showcased on that three-letter network, which is NBC. He was honored with the Huffington Post and Bloomberg Radio to be best of media in Carnegie Hall. And there he is with that living legends. There he is getting that award. There he is with famous people. But I'm going to say the most famous person is the one in the middle. I can say, as we say, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Manny, as a musician and classically trained vocalist, we just say with lots of practice. He has practiced what he has preached. He graduated from CEO Space International University. He has created over 1 million advertisers for free on Facebook. He is the creator of Network of Influence, learned with Manny, I should say, Best in Business with Manny Lopez, Learn with Manny, Universal Smart App Developer. And he's done this because of this beautiful wife of his. I'm looking forward to meeting her because she has got to say, I'm going to say, Manny, I always say that we know this about you. Women pick the most powerful and you pick the most beautiful. Way to go, Manny. You did a really great job. And this beautiful family, here they are out at this Pacific Coast retreat that they live in El Sonora, I think it's Southern California. But know that he does this only because he writes books, he does all this, and we're going to get to his book in just a minute because he is a servant leader, a true Manny created in this world of business and for this life. Hey, Manny, welcome to Traverse TV and Life's Milkshake Moment.
I'm loving it. Let's do this. Let's get this party started.
Oh, let's. Did you love the slideshow with wife and family and all that kind of good stuff? That was fun to do.
Oh, that definitely made me smile. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So I know you've got so much to share. We could be at this for the next 2 hours, but I want you to know I told the network broadcasters, because of who you are, we're going to skip the second commercial. Hey, I got us an extra 2 minutes, man. There we go. So share your story from orphan, foster child, and all of this to the other side of getting to college and entrepreneurship.
How did I go about doing that?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, you know, I found out how impactful my story can truly be. I always used to shelve that side of my business where I didn't talk about my past. I didn't talk about being in foster care. You know, my focus was just trying to be an entrepreneur, go out there and sell products and services. And before long, people just started gravitating towards that message. Like, who are you, Manny? I mean, you're teaching all these things in business. You're creating all these accolades and success. And, you know, who are you? And I started sharing my story, how I was left in a car at 18 months, how I was bouncing around to different foster homes for many years. Me and my sister suffered everything from malnutrition, abuse, neglect, torture, you name it. And, you know, we ended up very similar to the kids that never get adopted. We got adopted, we got a forever family, but I was still homeless twice by the time I was 25. And 2 out of 3 kids that age out of foster care, which are the focus for me in our From Orphan to CEO program now, 2 out of 3 of these kids within a year of aging out of foster care are either dead, homeless, or in jail. And so my focus now is to truly reverse that statistic. I want to see 2 out of 3 of these kids have a mentor, understand entrepreneurship, and own their own business. I really just take the map of what worked for me. I found a mentor, somebody who was many, many years ahead of me, who could teach me from their experience, who was willing to teach me. Then they focused on making entrepreneurship the vehicle for me to go build my own dream, so I don't have to wait for permission to go build someone else's. And then faith as a foundation that I'm truly building something that is not just for my own personal benefit, but I'm here to actually make a difference in some way. And my story will then become someone else's survival guide.
Yes, and it's absolute somebody's inspiration and whatever. And if you're getting this feeling, put in the comment section. You know, the comments are kind of blowing up here, but would you repeat, because I'm going to put that banner up in a minute. What is your foundation? It's called
From Orphan to CEO. And it's actually a Tom Shoes business model. We're not a nonprofit. We don't take any donations. We have no grants, no sponsors. The funding comes from my existing business. It's something I also teach. It's a Tom Shoes business model. For those that don't know who Tom Shoes are, it's a shoe company, for-profit company. Every time they sell a pair of shoes, they give a pair of shoes away to somebody in need. And I heard this concept many years ago at an event in Vegas, and I thought, well, genius. Why doesn't every business do that? Why can't every business create a product or service where they can serve more than one person per customer? And so that's what we ended up doing. We created a business model that said every time I bring in a new client, I'm going to create more resources for From Orphan to CEO, because it's completely free. We don't charge anything to our students. There's no cost for them to access resources. We have over 30,000 students in 86 countries now, and it's growing every day. And for me, it's just finding a way to take my skills of what I'm doing in business and be able to apply that to something I can just give away for free.
And that makes you grow and go, and the vision continues. That's as large as NCAA 1A university. And I can truthfully say, being on your Learn with Manny Zoom with your tribe and what you've done, y'all, he's been speaking and conducting this for 3 hours, and then he's here. That's probably one of the secrets that have made you so mega successful at such a young age. But you have, as you said, you kind of breezed by that. You created your own life rather than creating somebody else's life and dream. How did you just become so mega successful so quickly and creating that life for you and your beautiful wife and family?
I'd love to say it was quick, but we're about 11 years overnight success story, right? When I first
Okay.
started our business, I looked at an opportunity that I started seeing within myself to say, I can do this on my own. I can build something and truly control the idea and go out there and implement it. And it's action taking. If I'm not going out there creating relationships, networking, building opportunities, everything stays stagnant. And so when I first started my business, it was just a constant connection to people to share my ideas, to ask questions, to get
We'll be
feedback,
back.
to
Yeah.
offer serving ways that I could say, you know what, this is what I want to implement. This is what I want to share. And so when I started my business, it was a product for Facebook. This is actually what got us named one of the best by Facebook when they hit 1 million advertisers, was a product that we can install on a Facebook page that would actually turn a Facebook page into a Facebook website. But they didn't have to leave Facebook to opt in, to buy your products or services, to book appointments with you. And it was a pretty interesting technology, but it did not translate to mobile devices. It only worked on desktop. This is where within about a year to a year and a half of implementing this in my business, we started looking at mobile strategies. I came across a quote, and this is all about action taking. I came across a statistic that said more than 50% of mobile traffic is coming through, or internet traffic is coming through mobile devices. We had no solution for mobile. And I'm like, well, in business, you either adapt or die. I have so many people in my industry back then that said, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait till Facebook allows third-party applications so our program will work on mobile. To this day, 11 years later, still no access to mobile. So I hope those people weren't waiting, but I adapted. I think it's one of the biggest things that businesses need to understand is how to adapt to the market need. I looked at what the market needs and brought my skills to that area. I didn't just look at, what's fun for me to do and I just like to do it, right? I looked at what's fun for me, what do I have skills with, what do people actually need that they're not getting right now? And today I translate that into processes. It's systems, it's automation, it's lead gen, it's follow-up. And that's where I kind of take my skills where I'll host events, I'll coach people, I'll consult people, but at the same time, I'm serving my way to success because everything I get paid for, I have a do-it-yourself.
Beautiful. And I'll tell you something, Manny. We're kind of freezing up here a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a huge one of these tropical things happening in Florida, but we're going to adapt and overcome. But I love what you said, Manny, when you're talking about adapt, overcome. There's a problem. You found a solution. You didn't wait. You took action, just like you adapted and overcame as an orphan, as a foster child. It was really the thing that didn't make you bitter made you better. And you've translated that into business. I mean, that practical advice I saw on your website, or I think it was a YouTube interview that you did. These were absolute amazing. You had 4 strategies that practical advice. I mean, that 4 strategies. And, I would love to hear, you've already talked about serve your way to success, but just focus on that mobile strategy. That's what I have learned from you the most in the last 2 months that we've been working together.
Well, one of the things that I think is imperative for businesses to understand, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a specialist in some way, you are trying to build a network or build relationships, you've got to have a mobile strategy. Less than 5% of businesses still to this day, and I've been saying this for years, less than 5% of businesses even have a mobile strategy. They're focusing on these 3 areas. Building their social media following. Totally necessary, right? Great idea, but you're wasting at least 90 to 95% of your efforts if you're focusing on that first. Email marketing. You're wasting 80 to 90% of your efforts there if you're just building an email list or just saying, hey, go to my website, go buy or go connect with us on our site. 98 out of 100 people that go to your site leave within 60 seconds and they don't click anything. You got to understand in business and in creating an idea, it's all around building relationships. People don't just see you once and do business with you. They see you once and they decide that they like you. They want to connect with you, or they want to follow you, or they want to ask you a question. but they don't necessarily just want to go buy your products and services. We all have products and services as entrepreneurs that we need to monetize, but the way I structure it is I call it serving your way to success. It's building relationships by making sure that the people you bring into your business are people that need your help. And the way I implement it is through mobile strategies. I just say, I focus on getting the cell phone number first. That's 98% open rates within 5 minutes. Let me repeat myself. 98% open rates within 5 minutes. Nothing in the market comes close.
Wow.
Social media, 5% reach in 24 hours. That means 95% of your followers never see your post. They don't see them. It doesn't exist. You got email marketing that gets a 10 to 20% open rate within 24 hours. 80 to 90% of your followers, of subscribers, people that gave you data and said, follow up with me, they don't even see your emails. It goes to junk or just mixed in with the thousands of emails that are already unread. And then your website's the worst. 98 out of 100 people are leaving within 60 seconds. They give you no data. With no data, you don't exist. It is depressing. It's unfortunate. I mean, these are all necessary. Email, social media, website, that's all necessary, but secondary. You got to have a mobile strategy first. If you're not asking for the mobile first, you're literally operating at less than 10% of your capacity.
Well, and think about, do you want 3% or 97% or a 3% failure rate? I mean, or a 2% or whatever. I mean, these are the gems. And what I can say, if you go to Learn with Manny, you're going to be that much more. That MANNYfestation.com, Manny's website. I can't say how much that I know that you at your young age have become a sponge for knowledge. And this is what you've allowed us to do. So really elaborate on that point number 3 about become a sponge for knowledge.
There's always something to learn. I mean, every room that I'm in, whether they're massively successful billionaires and millionaires, or they're just starting out in business, there's always something to learn. Everyone has a genius within them. How many of them have actually discovered it? How many of them are nurturing it? How many of them are actually sharing it with others? I love the fact that I can literally sit down with somebody in just a couple of minutes, ask them just a couple of questions, and before long, I know how they can implement to get better results. I love learning what processes other people use. I love learning how they go about doing it. There's not just one avenue to success. There's thousands of avenues to success. There's opportunities galore. There's more opportunities than you could possibly handle. You watching this right now, I don't care how good about what you do that you are, you couldn't serve 1% of 1% of the population on this planet. And yet we walk around acting like there's not enough opportunities to go around. Like, oh my gosh, if we don't jump on this thing, we're going to lose out. Oh, FOMO this. Like, like my constant response when people are like, oh, Manny, I can't make it to this thing with you're doing. I feel so bad. I'm like, dude, there's always more opportunities. Yes. And to be a sponge for knowledge, that's just saying, I want to show up. I show up, I take notes. I'm the one sitting in the front row as much as I possibly can to learn what works, what doesn't work, what's happening now that I don't even know about. So for me, like, it's the funniest thing. Whenever I go to events, people are always like, Manny, you're like never in the back doing meetings. You're always just like sitting in the front row. You can't even talk to you. You're just sitting there like taking notes. I'm like, I'm a sponge for knowledge. I love to learn. I can't stop learning, and you shouldn't either.
Oh, and that's so beautiful. I mean, I noticed when I was honored, ladies and gentlemen, just to be on your forum this afternoon, and I noticed you were taking notes down for me. I know you weren't just setting up another meeting and taking notes, of which I have 5 pages, by the way, of what I took this afternoon, because I'm a note taker as well. But what was so amazing, that was $1 million tip on qualifying your candidates. If you're an entrepreneur out there, just come on, because Manny does these. Absolutely. The next one's coming up in September. You can come on there. Did I say for free? You can come on there for free.
Yes. I love giving everything away for free. Like, there's not one thing in my business that if you can pay for it, there's always a free version of it you can access somehow, some way. That's kind of been my philosophy since like 2016. It's like, okay, if I'm going to go monetize something, I'm going to create a way to document the process so I can give it away to people who say can't afford to buy the process or hire this specialist or expert. I even created a whole school back in 2017 when we started From Orphan to CEO. It's called the MANNYfestation School of Business, where all I do is I bring in experts to teach processes. I'm like, hey, you're a LinkedIn expert? Come in and share how that works. Oh, you help people with launching a book? Tell us how that works. You're a wellness coach and a health expert? Teach us how that works. This is all I do. I mean, I host events, I do interviews, I document these processes, and then I just give it away for free to our students and our members. And it's a winning strategy. You get a lot of data from the people that you're giving away stuff for free. So now you know who is attracted to your stuff, who's showing up to your stuff. Why do you think I'm very specific at my events? Like if you've been on my events, you'll hear I speak to 4 audiences: speakers, coaches, authors, consultants. And 99% of the time, every attendee on my events can fit into one of those 4 categories.
Those 4 categories.
It's just getting specific and saying, this is the audience I serve. This is the results I can get for that audience that's actually measurable for you. And there's a time frame where you can actually see results. I call it the art of business. And it's a powerful strategy to help people understand what you can monetize, how you help people. When people ask you, what do you do, how to respond to it, and how to actually attract people into your business that need what you do. It's almost like a foolproof strategy on making sure the clients that you do business with actually need your help.
Boy, and think about, let's just go back to that mobile strategy. If you know that you're getting to 97% of everyone within 5 minutes, they may, then what's the conversion rate to get your free stuff? So they go, as I love to call them, from people from a suspect to a prospect, to then
a prospect. I like that.
and a raving fan. So here you are, and the 4th piece of this is, you said stop waiting for permission. You didn't wait for permission for Facebook to do that mobile strategy. You just built it, and you built your own dream. So when you said being a megapreneur, stop waiting for permission to build someone else's dream. Please elaborate on that.
So in reality, it's about survival, right? I come from the foster care system. I've had to deal with things like malnutrition, where I didn't know if I was actually going to eat the next day. I would hide food in my bed. We would literally get sent to a home, and the social worker would tell our foster parents or our potentially adopted parents, I got adopted and returned 7 different times. They're like, no, we can't handle this kid. And looking at the malnutrition side of things, I would literally take food, we would hide it under our bed. My sister would take like a gallon of milk and hide it under, I mean, it would be the weirdest things, just because we didn't know when we would be able to eat again. And in the same sense, I took that almost into business on accident, where it was like, if Facebook is cutting me off, or I don't see an opportunity in this realm, if I'm not getting the results that I need, if I'm not hitting my numbers I need to survive. I need to create a way to win. And so I'm always looking at an avenue of how can I adjust to make sure I'm always winning, where I'm always having an opportunity to succeed versus just getting stuck. It's kind of like a maze, right? Like if you're going through a maze and you get stuck at an option, I'm not going to sit there and pout about how I'm stuck. I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to go look for another route. I'm going to find the exit. I'm going to find a way to win. And in that sense, you know, when you're waiting for permission to build someone else's dream, you're literally sitting at a wall in a maze, and you have no way to further advance. And so they give you permission. They tell you how to get out of it, versus I'm going to find my own way. I'm going to do this on my own. And every time I kind of go in that route, it doesn't always work, right? It's not always a winning strategy, but I get the learning experience. One of the things that I learned very early on in my entrepreneur journey is that you've got to fail often. I heard this interview with
Fail often. Boy, isn't that a great one? Find a way to win, fail often. I'm writing these down.
when I heard this interview with a guy who's done over 2,000 investments into companies, and he got asked a question that said, how many of those were successful? Right? Out of all those 2,000, you must have gotten the data on what worked and what didn't. And the investor said, well, we did run the numbers. We noticed that every 26 investments that we had, 25 would fail miserably, could go all the way down to zero. But the 26th one, on average, won so much that it paid for all the 25 losses combined. But the problem is most entrepreneurs, they never go past 3 failures. They hit 3 walls in that maze and they just go right back out the front. They're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. You got to fail 26 times on average before you're going to find that one success.
Find a winner. Wow.
Right? So for me, I'm like, there's got to be 25 other ways to do this at least. And one of those methods is going to be the right way. That's always been my strategy. Sometimes it's going to be 40 times because the first one, it was only 10 win. So it's going to average out. But at the end of the day, you need to be swinging that bat 26 times before you're going to hit 1 home run. And that's been the strategy is looking at that process and saying, you know what, I'm going to find a way to win, and I'm not going to wait for permission for somebody else to let me know it's possible for me. Because this is actually the reason why I started my business. I was working at a company where I was number 1 10 months in a row, okay, out of over 100 people that are part of this whole process of being on a leader.
I'm not surprised.
But I only did it for one reason, okay? They told us, if you want to advance in this company, you want to be a manager, which is literally day 1 when I got hired, that's what I told them I want. I want your job. When they said, what do you want to do here in the next couple of years? I'm like, I want to be in one of these seats. I want to manage a team, right? And they go, okay, well, you want to manage a team? You got to be number 1, okay? You got to be consistent. We only pick the number 1 person on the board to be manager. I'm like, okay, then, well, if that's the case, I've got to be number 1, not just 1 month, but the second month, the third. I got to make sure there is no other option but me when that opportunity arises. I was waiting for permission to build someone else's dream. I waited for permission 10 months. I was actually over 2 years I was waiting for that opportunity. And that opportunity came. They're like, hey, we have an advancement position. It just opened up. And I was already 8 months in a row, number 1. And everyone was like, well, obviously it's Manny. Every manager that we have here has always been somebody who is number 1 on the board. So we get to that spot. We're 10 months in, and they go to announce that advancement, and it's not Manny Lopez. They go, hey, not only do we have this person, but we actually opened up 2 positions. I was like, dude, I have to be the second one there. No problem. Manny's name was not called for number 2. So I was like, this is very odd. I've done everything. I've showed up early. I stayed late. I broke every company record they have. I've done what they told me to do. How come I didn't get the spot? How come I didn't get the advancement? Then the craziest thing happened. My mentor sits me down. He was actually on our call today, Gail Oliver, right? The one who won one of the prizes.
Okay. Right.
He sits me down. He was my very first mentor. He sits me down and he goes, Manny, you got to stop waiting for permission to build someone else's dream. It's time to build your own. And I almost laughed at him. I was like, what are you talking about, Gail? They won't even let me be a manager here. You're telling me I could be a CEO of a company? I could be running things. I could be sharing my own ideas, building my own dream. You're crazy. He goes, no, let me show you this guy. Maybe you've never heard of him. He shows me a video of a guy by the name of Les Brown. He goes, hey, this guy was in foster care like you. He's adopted like you. He had to go through all kinds of challenges in school just like you. Look at him. He's a CEO of his own brand. He's speaking in front of 80,000 people hearing his story. You can do this. And I was like, what? There's somebody like me, that somebody actually has a similar background to me that can actually go out there and win? At that point, every CEO I saw I couldn't relate to. I'd always have that excuse. Well, they didn't go through what I went through, so they got lucky. But then I saw the example. That was the whole basis of me becoming an entrepreneur, because now fear threw out the window.
Sure.
It was not possible. And now that's what helped me decide to go out there and build my own dream. I immediately said, you know what? You're right, Gail. I don't need permission from these people to tell me I'm good at what I can do. I'm going to go out there and build my own dream. Now, the next 2 years after that may not be a good strategy to follow because I ended up homeless. I lost everything within about 6 months. I jumped off a cliff without a parachute, not knowing how to build one on the way down. Tried to learn entrepreneurship on a quick route. That didn't work. I had to go back to the drawing board. It took me 2 years to actually launch the existing business idea that I still have as of today, that we're almost 12 years into it.
Well, and that just goes into my next question that I was thinking about, because starting your own business is not for sissies. It's just not, it is not. I mean, you have 3 personal philosophies, and what I'm going to say is thank you for your transparency. Before I go into this question, thank you. If Les Brown, you're listening to this, once again, you are the GOAT. You are the greatest of all time, the legend. There you go again with his quote. I didn't even know that about your story, Manny, when I said it's possible. That's one of my favorite quotes. He showed you it was possible, and you've shown many people it's possible by your 3 philosophies, your tenets, with mentorship, entrepreneurship, and faith. Please just share a bit about that, because it's so powerful, Manny.
It's the 3 pillars of my school. If somebody wants to go out and create something of their own, they want to build their own dream. They want to get paid for something that's fun for them. You need just those 3 things. It's that simple. You need mentorship. Find somebody who's at least 10 years ahead of you. You got to be at least 10 years ahead of you. So they don't see you as competition. They see you as somebody they can help that's maybe just starting out. They've already got 10 years of experience, minimal, on top of what you're doing. So they can say, hey, this is what you should do. This is what you need to be doing. Like, think about it, right? If you go to your family and friends and you tell them, I want to write a book, I want to tell my story, they're going to laugh at you. They're like, you're crazy. You can't write a book. Oh my God, it's so hard. How many books are already out there? Oh my God, you're like, they'll give you every reason why it's not possible. But then if I go to someone like Tony Robbins, who's written a bunch of books, someone like Jim Britt, a best-selling author of dozens of books, somebody like Kevin Harrington, who's done $5 billion in sales and a best-selling author, I could go to them and say, hey, I want to write a book. What they're going to do is tell me the process of how to do it. They're going to tell me who I should contact. They're going to tell me what I should avoid. That's real mentorship. Somebody who's going to pave the way for you and is not afraid to teach you the process. That's step 1. Entrepreneurship is going to be your vehicle. So again, you don't have to wait permission to build someone else's dream. You can go out there and start building your own. You don't need a degree. You don't need a certification. If you're going to be something like a doctor, of course, you need to go through those certifications and those professions. But in most cases, if you want to be a coach, a consultant, a speaker, an author, you need nothing more than the ability to communicate your idea. Entrepreneurship is communication and relationship building. Just master those 2 things or work on those 2 things, and most of everything can fall into place. You can literally delegate the stuff that you're not good at. You got to learn that process too. That's a whole nother conversation. But entrepreneurship, you got to have a way where your idea can further its own on its own. And then faith is a foundation that you are building something that is, to be honest, godlike. You know, I did not create what I have right now without putting faith first. And this is something that most entrepreneurs are told to shelve. I hear this constantly. I've been told this for a decade into my business. They're like, Manny, stop talking about Jesus. Stop talking about your faith. Stop talking about how your faith is helping you in business. I'm like, but it's true. It's true. Like, I would not have this servant mindset if it wasn't for my faith. I would not have this ability to say, I want to solve world problems. I want to tackle the foster care system. I want to stop sex trafficking. 60% of sex trafficking victims, did you know this, in the US, come from foster care? Most people don't know that. Okay. I mean, you got to look at things that are just like your own personal life that you can find ways to help others. Your chaos, the chaos you've been through that you think is holding you back, that is somebody else's survival guide. This is why God put you through this. This is why God put me through foster care, to go meet 8 different families. 7 of them said, know what, I'm going to return this kid like an unwanted birthday toy. That 8th family got me to connect with my wife. Me failing in school got me to connect with my wife. Me not having what I feel is necessary as growth got me to focus on building resources for the foster care system. I'm going to be able to change this system from the inside out because I went through this chaos myself. That is true faith. And I actually interviewed about 50 millionaires. I did this whole concept just to see what is it that they're doing that the rest of us aren't. And in 1 month, I interviewed about 50 millionaires and I asked, what is that common denominator? What are you doing that we should be knowing about? Once they've made 7 figures, they no longer care about what their coach says. They're no longer filtered, which is why I really love that little series. And the most common denominator was faith. Once they started putting faith first, the doors of opportunities that they didn't even know existed started opening up. It wasn't about making money. It was about serving more people and the ability to do that on a large scale. You could be serving all day long, make no money, and you can only help the 2 or 3 people around in your immediate circle. If you can find a way to serve others and at the same time make money doing it, well, now you can compound those opportunities, compound that help, and it's a recipe for success.
Well, and Manny, when you were saying that, I noticed in your body language that you said mentorship, entrepreneurship, and faith. You just went like this. So, I mean, it is faith first. That's why when I talk about the 6 pillars of foundational health, it starts with your spiritual pillar. It just is a game changer. And I know that going through this, what if you would have had Les Brown in your head when you were pulling those crumbs and helping your sister get that gallon of milk, shuffled away. What you're going through, you will get through, as Les Brown said. As in my own, journey of health and hope, when Les Brown said to me, your diagnosis is not your prognosis. See, your chaos became somebody else's survival guide. What a beautiful, beautiful, just expose, I'm going to say, but I'm going to bring this up to our screen because you showed the book. I'm waiting for my copy, as you well know, but Cracking the Rich Code. I mean, congratulations on co-authoring and being an international best-selling author. This just happened last month with Shark Tank, with Mr. Mega, as you said, 5-time billionaire Jim Britt, the coach of coaches, international best-selling, and I believe New York Times best-selling author. And everybody knows Anthony Robbins, Cracking the Code. How can people get a copy of your book? How can they absolutely read your story and share a little bit about your story and what you wrote in Cracking the Rich Code?
Well, the Cracking the Rich Code, I'll answer the first one. So to get a copy of it, I'll give everybody on your show a free digital copy of my chapter, how the breakdown works and everything like that. So if they text me the word book, I've got my phone number and my name. Once you take off to Learn with Manny, it'll show. But 714-369-8528. If you text that phone number, the word book, I'll know that it came from the show. I'll send it to you guys completely free, this phone number right here. 714-369-8528. Just text the keyword book. I'll give you guys the digital copy. But the book in itself was an interesting invite because I'm the 8th chapter in the 8th book. This is the 8th version, the volume of this. They've done this 7 other times. And what's funny is that the guy who introduced me to Jim, he's been coming out to the events that you were just on today. He's been coming out to a bunch of them that we've been doing them since before, COVID even started. So the whole pandemic thing, didn't put us virtual. We were already going virtual. And he's been attending these and said, man, your story needs to be in this book. We are cracking the rich code of money, relationships, and life. And my story in this book is titled From Orphan to CEO. And it's actually a continuation of my first book. Our first book that I was in was before the whole Manifestation From Orphan to CEO program that we started. And this one is 5 years in to that journey. So you get the whole update from the From Orphan to CEO journey. You get my conversation with God, where the whole reason why I do this now. Oh, you got 8528. We're missing an 8 at the end of that.
Gotcha. My thumb.
No
Here we go.
And then I had this conversation with God where in 2017, I had this fork in the roads moment where it was like, okay, do I continue on this path that is not getting me where I want to go, but it's consistent and I can make money? Or do I go on this path that God's pulling me towards, that's completely new, completely, untested waters, and having to kind of go in blindfolded in a sense? Within 2 months, if I didn't make results, I would be homeless. I had to make that decision, and it was a difficult decision. I talk about it in the book, but it changed everything for me. It went from selling my way to success to serving my way to success, building relationships from scratch, throwing away everything I originally learned, and looking at it as, maybe there is a way to help others at the same time of helping myself. You don't have to wait till all of the things are checked off in life to start giving back, to start helping others. This is where that whole from orphan to CEO concept came in, that Tom Shue's business model, the MANNYfestation School of Business. Our school is completely free. There's no subscription. It's like a free Netflix for business that rewards you to binge watch our content. We literally will give our students Manny bucks to go to school. Imagine going to school back in the days. Like, you'd show up to school and the principal's just handing out money to all the kids showing up on time. Like, what kid would not show up to school? They'd be there on time every day. Right now, imagine every class you go to, the teacher standing out front giving you money just to show up to class. Come on, like, that's the process of what we do in games, video games, shopping. We're doing this all pretty much everywhere, but we're not doing it in education. And our education is not putting our kids in a position to build their own dream. They don't even know what mentorship means. They have no idea how to even spell the word entrepreneur by the time they graduate. And yet we expect these kids to understand how to go about life, and they don't even know what the definition of building your own dream is. So in my case, it's just finding people who are building their own dream, like Dr. Jody, bring them into our community and say, tell our community how you do it. What is it that we can share? I mean, she gave such an inspirational message to our community today. It just wowed me, where I'm like, I need to have this woman on a keynote on every event that I'm doing if I can. It has to happen.
Thank you.
So it's that collaboration, it's that building relationships. And at the same time, it's about serving first. There's a strategy behind it. Most people don't realize you could serve, give away things for free, and actually build your business at the same time. And it's something that I break down in that book as well.
And you've broken it down when you said you had that conversation with God. I want to come back to this. You created a network of influence. Learn with Manny, Best in Business with Manny Lopez, Learn with Manny, Universal Smart App Developer. All of that came after you went on that crossroads. You made that decision and you worked that decision. I can just tell the audience that's going to be listening to this, that's going to be watching this, not only on Traverse TV now, but later on, get in touch with Manny. Obviously, guess what? That number, he will capture your phone number because he's a mobile guru. You will hear from him. Absolutely. So
it literally goes directly to me, right to this cell phone. It's not like my personal T-Mobile line. It's a different business line that's public, but you call that number, it's going to ring my cell phone. You text that number, the only person texting you back is me. There's no VA I delegated to. There's no, overseas team that's trying to be Manny. It's literally me, because of the systems that I work with. It's automation, it's process to where I could just focus my day on building relationships, having conversations. Voila, literally the things I like to do. In your case, you may like to, like my dad as an example. This is a perfect example, right? My dad loves beef jerky, okay? Who likes beef jerky? I love beef jerky. My dad loves beef jerky, but he hates how expensive it is. You go to the store and it's like $10 for like 2 ounces of beef jerky. So he's like, I'm gonna start making it myself. And he went and bought a little dehydrator, a little small one. He started dehydrating his own meat. He'd go to the store, then he started adding spices to it. Then he started making so much that he's like, I can't eat all of this. So he started bringing it to his friends and family, giving it away in little plastic baggies. I still remember this. And he would give them away, just, hey, try this. I made a new flavor. I made a new batch. I have these little extra ones. Try them out. Giving it away for free. Just saying, hey, check it out. I've just made these. I like doing this. This is fun for me. Today, he's got sold out almost every single week. Anytime he makes them, they're sold out. He's got this all little packaging with his old logo on them now. It's just amazing. He's turned a business from something he just loves to do for fun. Think of it. It could be anything. You could be surfing. You go to the beach. You like to surf. You got a little bit of advancement. You can actually write a wave or two. How many people at the beach would love to learn how to surf? Don't know how to write a wave or two? They will pay you to teach them. That could be a business. People don't realize how simple it is to truly go out there and build your own dream. It's just finding something you really love to do. You get really good at honing in on that craft, consistently making things that people like to do about it, like beef jerky flavors. Whoa, look at that. Accessibility, cheaper than go buying it at the store. Checked off all three in his business, and now he has demand.
He's got the Lopez beef jerky. There you go. And I am sure that, I mean, I knew that time would fly. So I just want to take a minute to wrap this up before our commercial break. If you have another free gift, if it's Manny Bucks, behind, ladies and gentlemen, behind that is the Spinaroonie of Manny Fernandez. Yes, Manny Lopez back there, the Spinaroonie. What is your, maybe there's another gift, and then I would love to wrap up with your last piece of manifestation wisdom.
Here's what I'll do. I'll give you guys access to all of my processes. So, most of the time I meet people and there's like one process I'll give them. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm like, oh, there's another one you should be accessing. Oh, and another one here. Oh, I have this event here. Oh, I have this thing you can download here. Instead of giving you guys like 15 different websites, what I did is I set up one word that you can text me at this number. If you text the keyword gifts, that's it, GIFTS, gifts, it's going to text you a link to my app, Digital Manny. Manny that speaks 26 different languages. I've got a passport in 85 different countries in this little Digital Manny world. But if you text gifts, there's one area on this platform that you can literally access over 20 different gifts that I've created, different processes that are broken down, everything from how to clone yourself with systems of automation, how I've generated over 100 million views on Facebook for free within 3 months. I break down that process. How to monetize your coaching program. So maybe you're a speaker, a coach, an author, or consultant, and you want to actually bring in clients to what you do. I'll teach you how I do that. I literally break down the process. I even teach you how to clone yourself with using just a handful of systems that you can run 24 hours a day. You don't need to hire an assistant. You don't need to hire a VA. You don't need to hire a sales team. If you like talking to people, you like building relationships and having real conversations, you're going to love my process. So text in gifts and you'll get them all for free. No strings attached. There's no invoice it's going to try to upsell you to. It's literally you click on it and a PDF opens up and you can literally read all the step-by-steps, or you click on it and a video opens up and you could just watch the process firsthand.
And Manny, you used a very important word. I just love you. I am so grateful that at Ignite Summit that I spoke before you and you reached out to me. That's what it's all about. Manifestation. I came up with a new word, ladies and gentlemen, being a health coach. I had a typo in one of the little graphics that I did to promote our show here. And I said, it was Manny gestation. You'll have 20 free gifts. You're going to have to gestate everything about manifestation. You'll be able to do this. But the one thing you can just feel, Manny, is your love. Thank you. Thank you for just being you and being here with us today. So back to our commercial break. Thank you so much for your time and your heart.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.
I decided to show Ignite Humanity for Manny Lopez. Why? As Ignite being a sponsor, a corporate sponsor of Life's Milkshake Moment, I can truthfully say that Manny has done this. He ignited, he went forward, he made a difference at igniting humanity, one relationship, one communication contact at a time, and so can you. I am so honored to say that my relationship with Ignite, now being into the third book, will be one that I am spearheading. So if you're out there and you are a famous practitioner in the health related field, if you are a practitioner, just regular person as myself, or if you're an influencer that's had an amazing health story where you've reclaimed and just maintained a healthy lifestyle, maybe this book speaks to you. We are going to be launching this. We are doing it this week. We will be doing this in a big way. We're going to just go into the diagnosis of it next week on the show. But for right now, if you want information about how you can ignite your story, because the story that you're waiting on, somebody is waiting to live on because they need it as a lifeline. That's what I've seen. Not only are we going to take these 35 authors, not only are we going to write and compile and create and monetize this book, well, we're going to take it one step further and take this on the road and create the Eastern medical, just, I'm going to say it's a parallel to the physician's desk reference. We're creating Healthopedia with these practitioners. If you want to be a part, just DM me at Health Coach Jody. It's right down there on my name at healthcoachjody.com, healthcoachjody.com. That's me. And I can truthfully say it will be a pleasure and honor to just go ahead and speak with you. And if you're looking for a way to just be a part of something amazing with my past books, all of this money with these books goes to charity. I said it is La Casa Ropa de Sobre in Colombia. We're 1 month in now with our own Healthopedia channel. Stay tuned as we build this. Stay tuned for so many people that you can be a part of this. I can say that you can now find me. This is a manifestation for me, for sure, was my new website. Even though I guess it's only going to get a 3% people look at it over those first 60 seconds. But drjody.com has everything there. It's a one-stop shop. As we launch our new product, something I've always wanted to do, a new healthy alkalinized product, just DM me at Health Coach Jody this week as we launch the product line. You can get a 10% discount. Just DM me and put the word launch at Health Coach Jody. It's Health Coach Jody. And as we're building different verticals where you can hear this message of foundational health, foundational living, foundational hope, you'll hear me every Sunday night on buildingfortunesradio.com. That was one of our sponsors, buildingfortunesradio.com, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and buildingfortunesradio.com/live. You will see me on Traverse TV Mondays on, we're calling it Mindset Monday. Isn't that a great one? Mindset Monday. We will have, it's because it's really, once you get your spiritual life in order, it's all in the mind. Noon for a 30-minute talk. Check us out for lunch. We'll be back here with Life's Milkshake Moment with executive coach Christopher Rausch. I'm just having this affinity, Manny, to be in Southern California. I guess he lives 30 minutes from you. I'm connecting the two of you for sure. But then we're launching a new symposium at noon on Traverse TV at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's called Doctor Talk. Come play in our health sandbox. We're going to have leading practitioners such as myself, Dr. Bill Janicek, being a chiropractor and doing NLP, Dr. Caxton Opre, an absolute functional medicine doctor, MD, Dr. Michael Pierce, dealing with the brain and addition, and to Dr. Mike Van Thielen, acupuncturist, and Natasha Holiday, a social worker. It is going to be a jam-packed symposium. We're doing it once a month, Thursdays at noon. So I want to thank our true, real servant leader. Goodness gracious, Manny, you have graced us with such knowledge. You've graced us with such positivity. And you just epitomize the quote that success is not counted by how many heights that you've gone up to the mountain, but how many people you take with you. And always remember, health is not something you do. It is who you are, a long life's journey, and what, most importantly, that you will become. Life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely. And when you do, your life will be oh so sweet. Until next time with Christopher Rausch, executive coach, I'm just going to say one more time, thank you, Manny, for being a true manifestation of life's milkshake moments. And until next week, this is Dr. J saying, have a healthy day.